welcome to the MVP Show. My intention is that you listen to the stories of these MVP guests and are inspired to become an MVP and bring value to the world through your skills. If you have not checked it out already, I do a YouTube series called How to Become an MVP. The link is in the show notes. With that, let's get on with the show. Welcome back to the Microsoft Innovation Podcast. Today's guest is from Sweden. Please welcome Josefin, a Gen AI modern work lead. Josefin accelerates digital transformation by using tools like Teams, Viva, and Copilot. She's all about people-first solutions, and her recent work shows how change management can be a secret sauce for hybrid success. Full links are in the show notes. Welcome, Josefin.
Thank you so much.
Good to have you here. I'm interested to jump into that change management story that you have and what you've been doing with Copilot. But before we start, food, family, and fun, what do they mean for you living in Sweden?
Oh, well, food, family, and fun. For food, I guess we have to start with that I'm a vegetarian, so I eat a lot of fruits, vegetables, and such. And I have been actually really good now to blend those. If you do your own vegetarian burgers, for example, you have to know the perfect mixture to have the right feeling of and texture. So that's my secret weapon nowadays to do these kind of burgers. And for family, I live in Gothenburg with my husband Mikael. And for fun, I love to be creative and do lots of crafts like crocheting, knitting, everything you can do with your hands, basically. That's what I do for fun.
That's, it's really interesting. It's a discussion I've had for the last 2 nights running. I went to a business event last night, and the discussion came up around, and both the conversations were, what are we going to do when we start going down to 4-day work weeks, 3-day work weeks, etc., because AI is going to assist us in so many more things. And the reason the conversation started is at the start of the week, I interviewed a guy who became famous for a period of 24 hours online because he went and he applied for jobs at Amazon, and he created a piece of software that acted like a screen of glass on his computer, and it read everything that was on a screen, heard everything that was coming in audio, and anytime he was asked a question, it would research and give him the correct answer. So he built all this AI solution himself. He's 21 years old. And so it blew up. He got kicked out of, I think it was Columbia University because they considered it cheating, right? He was augmenting all this stuff in, and it's now a commercial product. He's moved to Silicon Valley, and he's off to the races building his AI products. But I said to him, what happens to the world? I was keen to get the view of a young person. And he said something so intriguing to me. He said, we'll have more time to craft. And I said, what do you mean? He goes, we'll have more time to he goes, if you go back to before tech and before everyone had to work for money, he said, you would go out, you would get the food and sustenance you needed for the day, and then you would hang out and talk with friends and do things together. You'd build stuff, you'd design, you'd craft stuff and paint and all that type of stuff because there's no other pressures to do anything else. And I'm like, I love that idea of going back to a world of craft, that we do stuff for pleasure. Doing for pleasure, not for sale, right? Craft has also become a thing. Well, you could sell it online, get an Etsy store or whatever. But what about just doing it? Like I've found, I've got a 2-year-old and a 4-year-old, and I've got into doing plaster of Paris molds with them, and silicon molds, and then we wait a few days, and then they can paint them. And I said to my wife, I don't care that these don't become something that sit on shelf and stuff or that get broken. The 2 hours we spent together painting these little plaster molds there's the value, in that time.
Yeah, and I think also our brains actually need that kind of activities. When we work with AI, everything goes so fast, and it's just we speed up everything in the work life, and I think in our spare time we really need to do this more slowly activities like knitting. It's not, you don't do it to have a shirt in the fastest amount of time. You can order it online for less money, for less time, but it's for like you need it to wind down.
Yeah, I like it. First, how did you get into the AI scene? What was your journey?
Yeah, it's a long journey actually, because I worked more with craft and with the adult education and with in the field of social science for a long time, or for a couple of years at least. I'm not that old yet. And there I started within this study association to work more with digital tools, basically to help my colleagues to work more smartly, and how we could develop our organization with digital tools. So yeah, after a couple of years, I started to work as a consultant. And then actually with AI, it was when Copilot came out, I had so many customers who asked us about this. How do we get started with Copilot? What is Copilot? How do we train our users? How do we get ready for this new era? And then I got this assignment, and in the beginning we were very clear that I cannot call myself a Copilot expert, because Copilot has just been around for maybe 2 months or something. So we explored and really learned together. And then I got just more and more assignment to work with customers to develop this world. And now, a couple of years later, I think I can call myself a Copilot expert, because I was there from the beginning and I've done so much experiment with this product.
Tell me personally, what's your favorite tool in the Copilot suite? What do you find yourself using often? It delights you. You take joy in using it.
Actually, it's quite basic things like staying on track on what I have on my agenda. I do a lot of trainings and workshops with customers to get this recap over the day, what's in my Teams, what's in my email and everything. That actually helps me a lot. And then also to have these recordings and the recaps of meetings when I discuss things early on with customers. It's really good to have this to fall back to what we've said, what they actually need, and I can get back to them more quickly and give them a better solution in a faster amount of time. So I think that's my favorite parts, to the recaps.
Nice. Have you used many of the new features that have been out in the last couple of months, like Researcher and some of those new agent tools coming in, notebooks?
Well, yeah.
Yeah. What are your thoughts there?
For Notebook, I think we need to explore it a little bit more, and even Microsoft, I think, need to develop it a little bit more, because now it's not that super clear when to use Copilot, or why do we change from Copilot Pages to Notebooks, and when do we actually need to collaborate with Copilot and other colleagues? Because in Notebooks, we can do more of projects, you can say. So I think we need a bit more time to explore that feature. But for the agents, it's great to make it more personalized for the organization. And we build a lot of simple agents and more advanced agents nowadays with our customers, like helping them with all kind of business issues to fasten up, or to make it easier for all employees to use it. Because some people think it's very hard to use an AI agent, but it's not at all. It's like any other chatbot. basically. But you have to understand the organization's need when you build an agent. So that's more of the tricky part.
Tell me about change management and the importance when you're working with a customer of taking them on. I always feel that there's training and there's change management, and sometimes people confuse them as the same thing, but they are quite different. How do you think about change management? How do you apply it in the work that you do?
Yeah, that's a very good observation that it's two different things, trainings and change management. And I think that customers also blur them up a bit. They think, but we've done this training, and now why don't we see any change in the organization? So with change management, I think we need to work more with the organizational culture, like how do we learn new things, how do we support our employees to try new things and to actually not always succeed with them, and how do we learn from that journey to really set up this culture of exploring a new way of working. And that's a lot more work than just having a training. And I see that all the time in different kind of organizations. For some organizations, we can faster go into more of a training program because we have the management, they are with us, we have all the components to drive change. And sometimes we really have to go back to like the fundamentals of the organizations. What are we doing and why? And why do we need the help of AI, and how do we want to involve AI in our everyday work? Because in many organizations, there's lots of fear. How will this end up, and what will it do with my job?
Yeah. So that's interesting that you've raised that. How do you help people overcome the fear that this technology could ultimately replace them? There is the potential for it. The media talks about it all the time. How do you set people at ease and get them beyond that so they can still develop their own personal skills in their use of AI?
Yeah, I think it's a very important question to address. And I used to, most of the cases we do some kind of inspirational lecture or workshop in the beginning. And then I talk about like the era of Gen AI and what it actually is. So that you get a little bit more understanding of this kind of technology, but we don't go so deep that they get confused. Just like, okay, this is not a scary person who will replace me. It's actually a technology, and we are still in charge of it, we as people and we as an organization. So that we start with that, and then we explore the functions. And I used to show them a lot, like how AI already is involved in some of the Microsoft 365 products and has been for a long time. It's not Gen AI, but it's other parts of AI. So, and then they get, actually, have already been working with AI for quite some time, and it's convenient. And then we start to implement like easy prompts that you can benefit of every day in your work, that you are still the expert in your field, and everything this with also hallucinations, and that you have to check the answers, that you are still in charge. And it's more important than ever that you trust your own knowledge. And then we used to get a better like a starting point to really implement this in the organization.
Have you run prompt-a-thons with customers?
Yeah, I have.
So how, just run me a bit through what you would typically do. How would they, does it go for 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours? How long would you run a prompt-a-thon session for?
Yeah, we used to have like around 3 hours, I would say.
And then step me through, kind of just at a high level, what you would typically do from start to finish over that time.
Then I used to start with an inspirational part as well, this is Copilot capable of doing, but we don't start with prompt-a-thon from day one. Usually it's users who have been working with Copilot for some time, and then we have this. And I love to collect a department so that they all have the same roles and they work in a similar way. So we can pair them into groups from their department, and we start to craft scenarios. What is a typical working day for you and your department? What issues do you face? What troubles or small things that makes you that take up time that you could actually get help from Copilot with. And when we have these scenarios, we start to craft prompts. And I used to challenge them to work with different Microsoft 365 applications as well in this flow. Like maybe you start with a Teams meeting, you always have this kind of meeting, and then you want to send out an up following email to the group. How do you craft your first prompt to get this help all the way to get a more powerful prompt from Copilot? And it used to be very much fun, and since they are all in the same department, they get very much use of each other's prompts as well.
Yeah, of course. That's so cool. And so you say it's a fun type of experience. They enjoy doing it. Yeah, awesome. And do they feel more, what's their kind of takeaways from the event? What type of feedback have you had by running those type of events, as into how have things changed from somebody from the start of the day to the end of the day?
Many of them say that they have seen new way of how they can use Microsoft 365, like the apps in collaboration with each other. So that's apart from Copilot, actually, that's a finding, to work smarter, basically, with their real scenarios. And then also like the ingredients of a good prompt. Many are still in the thoughts of using using Google, so they just write a few searching words. So we really, I try to really explain what it does when you explain your scenario to Copilot and explain what you expect and why and everything. So they learn how to craft these more powerful prompts. And that's usually an aha moment for many of them as well. And to work with the colleagues, like many who have a Copilot license, they have it, they work, they explore, and they find things by themselves. But it's not that that everybody share with their colleagues what they have done and what they have learned. So that's a really good thing as well with prompt-a-thons, that you get the opportunity to learn together with your colleagues.
Yeah. This is so interesting, and obviously it must be a lot of fun.
Yeah, it is, and I learn a lot as well from each prompt-a-thon, and it's great because then I can have some tips and tricks for another customer from the last prompt-a-thon. So yeah, it's a really great way to dive into their organization and their needs.
So my final question for you is, we've got about 6 months or less of the rest of the year to go. What are you most focused on? Like, what new skills are you developing, or that you want to do between now and the end of the year?
Oh, that's a fun question. I always love to learn new things, and you really have to in this industry. And I think I will focus a lot on agents, actually, because that's what Microsoft are pushing out, and that's what our customers are most curious about. And I do courses for the West Coast Swedish Chamber of Commerce here in Gothenburg, and they ask me all the time, we have to do more about agents. So I will really try to get into that even more. And then I've seen that I have to learn more about Power Platform as well if I want to be an agent expert. So I think it's a lot about like automation and AI in combination for the next 6 months.
A lot of Copilot Studio and Power Automate. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Excellent. Josefin, thank you so much for coming on the show and sharing your story.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, thanks for listening. I'm your host, Business Application MVP Mark Smith, otherwise known as the NZ365 Guy. If you like the show and want to be a supporter, check out buymeacoffee.com/NZ365 Guy. Thanks again, and see you next time.